Hello and good morning. This is the Breville Barista Pro that I'm selling, model BES878 in brushed stainless steel. As you saw in the photos, it's in great condition. This unit is actually a trade-in from one of my customers who quit coffee. They no longer need a coffee machine, of course, so I've taken it from them to sell. Unit has been used lightly, is in excellent condition, in and out. And as you saw in the photos, fully refurbished and serviced, so that means all the seals have been checked, greased with silicone grease, tested at full pressure from the steam side to the coffee side, grinder cleaned and calibrated. Everything is in working order, and of course I'll be providing warranty with it. In this video I'll be testing all the features for you and making my morning coffee. So I'll be obviously testing the grinder, brewing, the group head, the steam wand, and also I'll test the hot water tap for you as well. On this model, I like to begin with a blank shot. So you turn on the machine, it's usually ready in 5 seconds, which is incredible for a coffee machine. Usually they take 1 minute to 3 minutes. On other models, this model takes 5 seconds. You do have to warm it up though, so when you turn it on, the boiler can turn on straight away, but that doesn't mean everything else is warm. So your cup, your portafilter, your group head, everything's still at room temperature. So you want to warm these up if you want to get a hot, good tasting cup of coffee, which is what I do on my personal machine as well, the one on the left here. Put your cup underneath, the handle is empty of course. Press the double button, that'll give you about 100 mils of hot water. In the meantime, I'll go grab some milk. That's the double button. If you want, I'll test the single button for you. You only need to do it once, but I'll test the other button for you just in case you wanted to see what that looks like. Great. So after you've warmed up your portafilter and cup, take this out, put it away. Grab your portafilter and dry it. So I'm using the single basket, single wall. Your machine comes with 4 baskets, which are here. So double shot, single wall, double shot, double wall, single shot, double wall, and single shot, single wall. More info on those later. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Obviously comes with a cleaning pin, brush, razor tool, obviously the portafilter and the tamper, and a milk jug, which I've just filled with fresh cow's milk, straight from the fridge. Cold milk will steam better than lukewarm milk or the room temperature milk. This single basket takes about 9 or 10 grams of coffee. I will grind, let's say 8 seconds. I'm using grind size number 10. So 8 seconds, you can select that in in half a second increments as to how long the grinder grinds for. If you press the button, it will change to double shot. If you press it again, it goes back to single shot. Here is the grind size dial. This dial will control the space between the blades or the burrs, and this will dictate how fast or how slow your shots are going to be. So if you have large particles, the water will flow through them quickly. So large grind size, large particles, large brew speed. Think of it that way. So the water will flow through them quickly, and you'll get a quick shot that ends in very little amount of time. If you use a finer grind size, so something smaller like flour, almost very small particles, smaller grind size, smaller particles, slower speed of brewing. So that means if you use a really fine grind size, your shots will take too long to come out, sometimes not even coming out if it's blocking the water flow. The perfect grind size is one that gives you a 2-to-1 ratio in 20 to 30 seconds. What does that mean? So that means if I'm grinding 10 grams into the basket, the single shot basket, on let's say 9 grams. I want to see double of that in my cup in about 20 to 30 seconds. So 9 in, 18 out in about 25 seconds. That's a good shot, I would say. If my 18 gram shot takes 40 seconds, 50 seconds, that's too long. So I need to grind larger to speed it up. If my shot of 18 grams takes 5 or 10 seconds, that's too little, and I need to grind finer to slow it down. Hope that makes sense. I made a coffee last night at grind size 10 for my dad. It was fine. He made a good coffee at number 10, so I'll do that again now. I can't remember the timing, so I'll just try 8 seconds. So I'm going to use my scale to measure 8 seconds. Sorry, to measure 9 grams. Let's see what we get. We definitely got more than 9 grams. Let's see what we got, then I can get rid of it. We got 12 grams, so that's way too much. So we want, let's say 6 seconds from now on. 6 seconds, get rid of that. That's 10 grams. I mean, I'll give it a try, but I think it's going to be happier at 9 grams instead of 10. Usually, if you don't have a scale, that's fine. You can still make coffee. What you want to do is one of two things. Either before you press your coffee down, just make sure the coffee is level. So if it's got a heap of coffee, like a little mound of coffee, that's too much, get rid of that, and then tamp. Otherwise, the more reliable thing to do is just tamp the coffee, press it down nice and firmly with your tamper, and make sure that the level of the coffee after you press it down is as deep as this silver part on the tamper. So this silver part is intentional. Breville made it so that you have a visual sign or a visual aid as to if you have as to the dose. So if you've got the correct dose, the silver part should sink in, and you've got the perfect amount of coffee, which is, for this bean at this grind size, it's 9.9 apparently. So some coffees will be denser than others, so you can pack up to 10, 11. Some coffees will be less dense. In fact, yesterday I made coffee on a different Barista Pro with my personal beans, and they took 7.5 grams in terms of volume in that volume. Oh, in terms of weight in that volume. So in this case, it's 9.9 of 10 grams. This razor tool is exactly for this purpose, to give you an idea if you have the correct amount of coffee or not. So it will sit in like this, and you rotate it to remove the top layer of coffee. So I've got a tiny thin layer of coffee that I'm scraping off now. It just goes into the bin, obviously. But yeah, this will ensure that the depth of the coffee is correct. If you want, after you use this tool, just use the tamper again. Let's measure it one more time. 9.5. So I'm not saying you need to do this every single time. You don't have to measure the coffee every single time and use the razor tool every single time. Just that when you first set up the coffee machine with your own coffee beans and settings, once you set up the correct grind size, this is how you select the correct grind time. Is, like I said, the grind time that gives you this result. So if you have it on 10 seconds or 12 seconds now, it'll overflow. You'll have to waste coffee every day. If you have it on 4 seconds or 3 seconds, then that's way too little coffee. You'll have to add more to get a decent shot. But now it's on 6 seconds, so hopefully that gives you close enough to 10 grams or 9.5, so that every time you can, your workflow can be easier. It's a lot of talking about grinding, but hopefully you can get this result. Hot water tap here, you've got this diode. If you turn that away, it'll give you clean hot water straight from the boiler. You can use that for making Americano, long black coffees. You can use it to warm up your cups, brew tea bags. In my scenario, I like to add a little bit of hot water to the bottom of my cup because I add a little bit of sugar. Then the hot water helps the sugar dissolve and everyone's happy. So I use the hot water tap every time almost on my machine as well. Mix that up. Then I'm going to reset my scale one more time, and I'm going to use the single button because we're doing a single shot. See what we get. That's quite fast, so that's 15 seconds. 15 seconds for a single shot gave us 28 grams. So a bit quicker than I wanted, a bit longer than I wanted. I was aiming for about 20 or 25. It went to 28, and also it took less time. So that tells me that my grind size may need to go a couple numbers finer with these beans. So maybe grind size 9 or grind size 8. If I try that again, it should slow things down a bit. I don't have the luxury of time to do another shot, unfortunately. So I'll just drink this one. It should be drinkable, especially if you add sugar and milk. But if you have a quick shot, you may notice that the flavor is more sour, more weaker than you'd like. So if you drink black coffees, then I recommend getting the settings right and the timing right, because that will help you get a better tasting shot. But if you taste this now and you're happy with it, I don't see why you need to go chasing the numbers. I mean, you should get something that tastes decent, well, tastes good, rather than something that matches and fits the numbers perfectly. But obviously the numbers will help you get a better tasting shot most of the time. That tastes okay to me. I mean, especially if you add a little bit of sugar. I'm gonna add some milk now to turn this into a latte. And to do that, turn on the steamer. It'll take about 5 seconds to start steaming. Turn it off, turn it back on. So the technique is difficult to convey over video like this, but basically keep the angle at a keep the wand at an angle to the milk, so not direct, so sort of at an angle, and keep it close to the edge of the jug so that it spins it in a vortex-like fashion. And the depth of the wand will dictate how much foam you get. If you keep it too deep into the milk, you'll get very little foam. If you keep it close to the surface, you'll get more foam. And then towards the end, give it a purge. Actually, I'd like to wipe it first and then give it a purge. Get a wet towel, scrub it properly, because obviously it gets really hot. It's a piece of metal with steam going through it, so you don't want to burn yourself, but at the same time you want to clean it properly because the milk will stick and bake on top of it. It becomes really difficult to remove crust of milk. Great, and then after you do that, give it a purge. Turn on the steam for 2 or 3 seconds. Just long enough to push some water, some steam through, and you're done. Lastly, you want to empty the portafilter, obviously, so take that up. Sometimes the coffee will stick there if you have too much coffee. Give it a rinse. I like to do this after the coffee as well. It's going to flush my grip head and my water filter. The only drawback is it'll waste more water and you'll have to empty this more often. but I guess it's better than going to the sink and having it drip all over your carpet with coffee. Great, this is my shot, this is my milk. Knock the jug down onto the counter to break any big air bubbles. Swirl the jug around to mix it up. Keep doing this until the surface is nice and smooth. Good. Awesome. So if you're skilled, if you have time to practice, you can get really good latte out on this machine. I'm not particularly skilled and I don't particularly give lots of time to practice my latte art, but every now and then I get the occasional love heart, tulip, whatever. Most importantly, it needs to be smooth texture milk so that it tastes great. Looks are secondary. That's the result that I got. Decent amount of foam. Looks great. Looks delicious. I'm looking forward to having it this morning. Machine will be cleaned and I'll send you good photos after the video. But yeah, it's a good coffee machine. Hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. And thank you for watching.